can't find nothing on the radio.
You ready, Steve?
Welcome to Songology. He's Bruce.
He's Richard.
And this is another episode from our Song of the Day archives.
Enjoy.
Welcome back, Bruce. We're on the road still. What do you have on tap for today?
Today we're going to go in a slightly different direction because of all of the things that were recorded in Muscle Shoals, what I've been concentrating on is rock and roll, of course. I could mention, though I won't play because I'm not a country music fan, there was a huge amount of country stuff and very successful country stuff that came out of Muscle Shoals as well in this period of time.
Very understandable, so, considering its location.
Yeah, and Recall recorded quite a number of country acts, and there's even country acts that come out of there today. But I'm not going to go in the country direction today. I'm going to go in kind of in a little bit of a reggae direction. But bear with me here, because this is a very mainstream little tune. It's called Sitting in Limbo, and it's by the reggae artist Jimmy Cliff. Jimmy Cliff, internationally known reggae performer, and one of the guys, really a sort of a precursor to Bob Marley. Everybody thinks of Bob Marley when they think of reggae, right?
Yes.
But now Jimmy Cliff is before Marley and was one of the people who sort of paved the way, so to speak, for reggae. He is from Jamaica. When he was still in primary school, he really got into music listening to his next door neighbor's record player. They didn't have a record player in his house, but he would listen to the music coming from the neighbor's place and really, really got into it and started writing his own songs and so forth. Well, back in 1962, his dad took him to Kingston, Jamaica, to go to Kingston Technical School. So this was a boarding away sort of place, and he was sharing a one-room apartment with a cousin of his while he was supposed to be going to school. Well, Jimmy wasn't really interested in school as much as he was interested in music, and particularly, he couldn't see himself doing anything else. The thing that he really, really enjoyed was playing music. So he kept looking for music producers and trying to get his songs that he'd written recorded. Didn't have any success for quite a while. One night after he'd been out at a talent contest, he was going home. Now, he's only about 14 years old at this time, but he's going home. He's walking past this business that is a combination record store and ice cream parlor. Don't know how many of those they have in Kingston, Jamaica, but there was one.
Yep.
And he knew that that particular business also had recorded music there.
Yeah.
And so basically he just mustered up his courage and barged into the restaurant, and it was kind of at closing time. But he says that he went in there and he just badgered everybody who would listen and many people who didn't want to listen. You have to produce my stuff. You have to produce my stuff. And eventually someone named Leslie Kong agreed. They started making music together, and Jimmy wrote a song called Hurricane Hattie, inspired by the Caribbean hurricanes and so forth, and that became a hit. So fairly quickly, he was still 14 when he had his first hit, and his career took off from there. He spent some time as an artist in residence in Expo, at the Jamaican Pavilion in Expo in Paris, and he was convinced to go to the UK for a while, but he always had Leslie Kong produce his music until Kong died rather suddenly and unexpectedly from a heart attack. So it's 1971. Leslie Kong is dropped over dead. And Jimmy Cliff is, for the first time, left without this mentor that he's had. Not really sure what to do, but he wanted to continue making music. And so I'm not exactly sure how, because in the documentary they don't say, and I was unable to dig it up on my own. But for some reason, Jimmy Cliff makes his way to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and to the recording studio on the Jackson Highway, where he sits down with the Swampers and works up the tunes that he's got prepared, including this one, which is called Sitting in Limbo. And it really was a song that was very personal to Jimmy at the time because it was really how he felt. There's the line in there saying, sitting in limbo like a bird without a song. Well, having been deprived of his mentor, and the person who was really, he felt most responsible for his whole musical career, his sound, everything. That person's gone. Well, what am I going to do? And how do I How do I handle this? But he put it into music and carried on. I mean, Jimmy has continued for many years and won awards, international awards, been recognized by Jamaica as a nation for his musical work. So his career stretched on perhaps in part because of those guys in that little rented studio on the Jackson Highway in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So they don't just do country and rock and roll. They do a little bit of reggae as well because the Swampers played on this track. Here's Jimmy Cliff and Sitting in Limbo.
Sitting here in limbo.
And as usual, I have to stop it right there due to the wonderful world of fair use rules. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. You can visit us on Facebook or head over to our website, songology.ca. Now, here's your chance to listen to the music or go on to the next episode.